guys, it's Mrs. Wood. Welcome back to another week of digital learning. Today we're going to review what we've already learned about fairy tales. So up on your screen, you can see the chart that we have made. And so far, we've talked about that all fairy tales have good and evil characters. And last week, you sorted all of those characters into if you thought they were a good person or if they were an evil person. We also talked about that all fairy tales have a setting. So on Thursday, you looked at different settings and how settings can be real or make believe in fairy tales. So sometimes they could be, even though the fairy tale is made up, the place that they're talking about could be a real setting, like a castle. There are real castles. But if we were talking about a pumpkin turning into a vehicle, that would be make believe. Today, we're going to start looking at the third thing that all fairy tales have, and that is a problem and a solution. So we have learned throughout this year, most of the stories we read, well, all of the stories we read, if they are fiction, they have a problem and they have a solution. So I want you to answer this question for me. What is a problem? Right. A problem is when something goes wrong in a story. So if I was looking at Jack and the Beanstalk, what would the problem be in that story? Right. The problem was that Jack and his mother did not have any money. They were running low on money. So that was the problem. And then solution. We've learned this word before this year, but what does it mean if there's a solution? Right. Solution is how the problem is solved. So if we have a problem, that's something that goes wrong. Solution is how we solve that problem. So in Jack and the Beanstalk, the problem was that Jack and his mother had no money. How was that problem solved? Right. It was solved because Jack found the golden eggs from the chicken. He found the bag of gold money that the giant had, and then he got the golden harp. So all three of those ways helped to solve the problem because once he got those, were Jack and his mother poor anymore? No, they had money. They said that they laid an egg every day from the golden egg. People would come and they would listen to the golden harp and pay them money. So, fairy tales are just like all the other fiction stories we've learned about in that they have a problem and a solution. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a few other stories that we have talked about. So far, we have looked at a few different fairy tales, being Cinderella and Snow White. So I want you to think about the story Cinderella. What is the problem or what goes wrong in the story Cinderella? Well, the problem is that Cinderella's stepsisters and mother are very mean to her, and they won't let her go to the ball. She's locked up, remember? But how is it solved? She meets the fairy godmother who helps turn her into a princess, and in the end, she marries the prince and they live happily ever after. So, does Cinderella have a problem? Yes. And is there a solution in the end? Yes. So this is another way to prove that this is a fairy tale because it has characters, it has good and evil characters, and it has a setting. And now we're seeing that Cinderella also has a problem and a solution. So let's look at Snow White. What is the problem in Snow White? Right. The problem is with that evil character again, with her evil or the evil queen, who's also her stepmother. She wants to be the fairest of them all. So she wants Snow White to be killed. And she even ends up poisoning her with an apple. And the solution to solving this problem of Snow White being poisoned by the apple is that the prince comes and kisses her and wakes her up. And so she also becomes a princess then because she gets to marry the prince. So a lot of times in fairy tales, we see that the solution, if it's a princess or there's something that happens with them, the evil character causes the problem. But then we have a good character comes and provides the solution. So we're going to keep talking about this a little bit more this week, and we're going to learn how the problem and solution fit into that next part, which is the beginning, middle, and end. So I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, and we'll look at some more things that all fairy tales have. See you later.